There was a time when Ethan believed that success meant control. Control over his time, over people, over everything that made him feel uncertain. He lived in a glass apartment, high above the city, where the skyline looked like a trophy he'd won. But the silence felt like a punishment. Every morning he'd wake before sunrise, grab his phone and scroll through 100 faces that seemed more successful than his. He told himself it was motivation, but deep down, he knew it was poison. His mind was always loud, thoughts crashing, comparing, racing. You're late, you're behind, you're not enough. He called it ambition, others called it anxiety, but to Ethan it was simply survival. Because in his world, slowing down felt like giving up. One evening, after missing another family dinner and losing another client, he sat in the dark and whispered to himself, "Why do I always feel so empty? Why does it never stop?" His reflection in the glass didn't answer, but something inside him cracked, quietly, like a whisper escaping a storm. A few days later, his company sent him to a remote town for a business retreat. It wasn't his kind of place. No Wi-Fi, no city lights, just endless green fields and the sound of wind in the trees. He hated it at first. The stillness felt like judgment. The air smelled too real. The sky looked too wide. That night he couldn't sleep. So he walked outside, barefoot on the cold grass. Near the edge of the forest, he saw a small cabin with a dim light flickering inside. A woman sat on the porch, reading by lantern glow. She looked up, smiled softly, and said, "You look lost." Ethan laughed nervously. "I'm fine, just can't sleep." She nodded. "Restless mind?" He paused. "Yeah, you could say that." The woman closed her book. "Then you're in the right place. Sit." He hesitated, then sat on the old wooden steps. For a moment they said nothing, surrounded by the sound of crickets and rustling leaves. Finally, she spoke. "You remind me of who I was 10 years ago. Someone who thought their mind was a machine, that if they just pushed harder they'd win. But your mind isn't a weapon, Ethan. It's a garden, and you've been watering the weeds." He frowned. "What does that even mean?" She smiled faintly. "It means every thought you repeat becomes a seed. Fear, guilt, comparison. They grow fast when you feed them daily. And then one day, your garden becomes a battlefield. The only way to find peace is to start choosing what you grow." Ethan looked away. Her words were true, and it made him uncomfortable. He realized how much of his life had been built on the fear of not being enough. The woman returned with a small cup of tea. "Here," she said. "Drink slowly, and listen." The tea was warm, bitter, grounding. She continued, "You think your problem is that you overthink. It's not. Your problem is that you never think deeply. You chase thoughts like flies but never ask where they come from. You drown in noise but avoid silence, because silence tells the truth." Ethan swallowed hard. "So what do I do?" She pointed to the trees. "Watch them. They don't rush to grow. They don't compete. They just exist, giving shade without asking who deserves it. Try being like that for one day. No plans, no goals, just awareness. Let the world move, and you stay still." The next morning, Ethan woke before dawn, but this time he didn't reach for his phone. He just stood outside and breathed. It felt strange, like his body had forgotten how to be simple. He noticed the slow, steady rhythm of his own heartbeat, a sound he'd long ignored. He was realizing the woman wasn't teaching him to escape his thoughts, but to see them for what they were. Later, he told her, "I think I understand now. Peace isn't something I can find. It's something I stop losing." She smiled. "Exactly. You can't control the waves, Ethan, but you can learn how to float." When the retreat ended, he returned to the city. The apartment was the same. The work emails still flooded in, but his response was different. When stress rose, he observed it. When fear spoke, he listened, and then he let it pass. Weeks later, a colleague asked, "You seem different, happier. What happened?" Ethan smiled. "Nothing happened. I just stopped letting my thoughts own me." He never saw the woman again, but her words became his compass. Your mind is a garden. Choose what you grow. Now, when he looks at his reflection in the window, with the city lights glowing behind him, the silence finally feels kind. Because he understands that changing your mindset isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before fear started teaching you how to think. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that helps you find your inner peace. We'll see you in the next one.